Guys, this channel that I'm starting is going to be about addiction and mental health. And please bear with me because I'm just starting this and I have a few ideas of where I want to go. To give you a quick background, I am a vet. I was in the Navy years ago. And when I went to reenlist, they diagnosed me with bipolar, which in 1998 was to me uncommon. I hadn't heard of it yet. So I knew that I had attention deficit problems. I wasn't medicated when I was in high school. So I was hyper. I knew that. But when my squadron was going to be deployed on an aircraft carrier on my second tour, they did a lot more of an in depth mental health check. And that's when I was diagnosed. So they gave me a medical as far as a discharge and wouldn't let me reenlist. And I understand that completely. I'm now service connected because of it, but I would have much rather have stayed in for 20 years. But everybody has a different path, and I'm not to get too religious or spiritual, but I do believe, in my opinion, God has a plan for each of us. Now, having said that, I am a recovering opiate addict, and we'll get into that a little bit more. I have a type of bipolar that is unspecified. I have the manic ups and downs and all of that good stuff, which I'll get into more in subsequent videos. This is just to give you guys an idea of where I want to go with this channel. I've spitballed a bunch of different ideas over the past few months, and I procrastinated on this, and I'm really looking forward to speaking to people, hopefully trying to help them. And I think that this may help me as well, talking about how I've been affected by this mental illness and this disease of addiction and how it's happened. And I'll always try to take questions once we get this up and running. And I hope this channel will help fellow addicts or people suffering from either a dual diagnosis or just mental health and addiction as well. To give you guys just a quick rundown, when I was discharged from the Navy in 1998, after a 3-year tour, I was hit by a jet ski at Geneva on the lake in Lake Erie in 1999, in which I broke my femur. And I had titanium rods put in my femur and my hip. And I was prescribed OxyContin for almost 5 years. It was basically in its infancy in 99. And as the time went on and my tolerance built up to it, they gave me more and more and more. And about 5 years and 2 months into my prescription and my increases in those prescriptions, my doctor said one visit, we're going to cut you off. You don't need these medications anymore. I said, okay. I had no idea that I had a tolerance addiction problem. Well, I guess I knew about the tolerance, but because they kept raising it, but the addiction, no. So 3 or 4 days after I stopped taking my last dose, I was deathly ill. Within 2 days after, I was very ill, but deathly ill 3 or 4 days after. I had no idea what was wrong with me. Some people that I spoke to said, you are addicted to OxyContin. So I immediately bought a couple because they were everywhere in the Pittsburgh area where I'm from, and I felt better instantly. So there were doctors around here at the time, a lot of them, who, if you went in with cash, they gave you a script of basically the oxys and Dilaudid and a benzodiazepine of your choice, whether it be diazepam, which is Valium, alprazolam, Xanax, or clonazepam, to name a few. It was so bad that you could have brought an MRI or an X-ray of a cat in, or a dog, and they would have gave it to you. They were, in my opinion, the worst drug dealers, these doctors. But I blamed everybody else at that time about my addiction. It was the doctor's fault. It was my unlucky life because I got hit with a jet ski, and God and the world had it out for me. And, I never took responsibility that, hey, maybe this is partly, if not mostly, my fault. So I went on a tear for about 18 to 20 months where I was going to different doctors, going to Florida and going to the pain clinics there and buying them. Just self-destructive. Arrested a couple times on possession charges. Thankfully, nothing serious. Finally, a physician who was my primary care at the time said, let's try methadone for you. And I've heard about methadone. I've never had it or tried it, but I've heard horror stories and I've heard positive reviews and stories of hope and, great results. For the first 6 months I was on it, I actually did really well. I was enlisted back in college. I was on campus and taking online classes at the time. This time, the online school that I went to was the University of Phoenix, and it was basically just one of a handful of online schools in. This went on for years. I went for a semester, quit. Finally, a service member from the VFW, I believe, got with me and was asking me if I was service connected. I didn't even know what that meant. And he asked me why I wasn't in service, and I explained it. And he said, are you still being treated for bipolar and anxiety? I said, yes, by a family physician. And he said, you're not collecting disability from the VA? I said, no. He said, well, they wouldn't let you re-enlist because you were diagnosed with bipolar from them or by them, and you didn't follow through with it, which I didn't know I was supposed to. And now you are basically, you have a really good chance to get it. So this gentleman was somebody who I met when I moved to Florida. I'm going to skip around a little bit. And his name was Lee, and he worked for a division of the VSO. He got me hooked up, and within 6 months, he let me know that I was approved at 70% service connected, which at the time meant I was getting under $1,500 a month, tax-free, but the medical it paid for everything. So after about a year and a half of being 70% connected, I got a lawyer who handles just VA cases, and I figured, why not go for 100%? I was denied, of course, at first for something called TDIU, which is, it's 100%, but it's not for life. You can be basically, you can be reevaluated, every few years if they feel, and they can reduce your rating. So after my lawyers filed again, and about 3 months after that, they came back with, you just got approved for 100% P&T, which is the permanent and total. That's the best you can get. That means you are exempt from any future exams from the VA. So that was amazing to me. But at this time and years prior, I was so messed up from my bipolar, my anxiety, my ADHD, my addiction. I'd put one substance down and pick up another. I'd say, well, I'm on methadone and I'm not taking other opiates, but I was on prescription benzodiazepines, which made me completely useless. I would be on cocaine and crack, and I really didn't drink or smoke marijuana a lot, but to get you get the point if you've ever been anywhere near where I've been. It ruined so many years of my life, and not sticking with the medications to help me with bipolar, and making the excuses that, well, when I take this medication or that one, it feels like my brain is wrapped in a wet towel. I can't feel anything. So, and then this one makes you gain weight, this one makes you lose weight, this one raises your triglycerides, yada, yada, yada. So this is just basically a little prologue of what we are going to be discussing on this channel. I'm sorry, I paused that. So if this doesn't make sense from what I was speaking about a few seconds ago, I apologize. Basically, what I want to do with this channel is I want to explain how I got where I got and the hardships and struggles that I have endured. And I want to help people who have endured similar struggles. It doesn't have to be bipolar. It doesn't even have to be addiction. It can be you're a vet who struggled, you're an addict who struggled, you're not an addict who's struggling with certain things, and you're not a vet who's struggling with certain things. This is going to be basically an open channel that is going to hopefully benefit you out there and me. And I'm going to get more equipment as far as a microwave, a better sound system, a desk, and all that. But I've been procrastinating on doing this for a long time, and if I didn't start, I never would. So I'm hoping to reach as many people as I can, and I wanted to speak about something that I am passionate about, and something that I have struggled with for well over 20 years, if not more. So right now, I believe this channel is called Addiction and Mental Health. I don't know if I'm going to change that or keep it the same, but it should be similar to that if I do change it. I'm going to hopefully try to get some affiliate links, and that has, something to do with what I'm discussing, and what hopefully you guys can give me some feedback and questions about, because I believe that not only will this hopefully help somebody out there, but I'm thinking it'll also help me. So maybe this can be good for a lot of us. And I just want you guys to know that I am honored to have been a veteran of the Navy and a proud member of the Navy, and I'm happy and honored to have served you in this country. And I will not get political on this channel. It's not about that. This is about helping somebody who feels that they have nowhere to go. Because I've been there so many times. I've been hopeless. I've been in plenty of inpatient mental hospitals. I've tried to commit suicide more than 2 times. I obviously didn't succeed, but one time I came very close. I have overdosed a couple times. I have really been at the bottom a couple times. And I've been to the top too. And when I say the top, I don't mean I was a millionaire or, I was so happy and everything was perfect. I don't mean that. I mean that I was free, like I am now, of addiction. And I was taking it one day at a time, like I am now, so I don't overwhelm myself. And it's a selfish program, being an addict and trying to stay clean. If you, of course, you want to do it for your family and your friends, of course. They say in the Narcotics Anonymous rooms that you can't get clean or sober if you do this for somebody else. I agree with that. 90%. You can't. Because if you're doing this for somebody else and somebody else only, it's if that somebody else is a significant other and something happens with that relationship, then where are you left? So it's got to be for you. So I'm going to post this and then I'm going to put other ones up tomorrow and a day after. And we'll get some people and we'll have some discussions and questions and answers and hope to see you there.